In a land where corn is king, farmed by America's best, and every bushel matters. Corn Warriors. It's personal.
If you've already made 400 bushel corn like you tweeted about, why is it such a goal now?
We can beat the rest of the Warriors.
The Midwest needs to step up the game.
I think it's all in good fun, but they're serious competitors.
Mr. Tweedy, you could be in trouble.
The jury's still out. Randy is a bully, and there's no question about that.
We can't control the weather. We're along for the ride.
I'm a passenger and I have a NASCAR driver driving my kind of mine now, Sandy. This button here swings the auger out. Just push the top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, see it swinging out?
Yep. And then basically between the two of us, we got to match speed.
If you get about 4 1/4, 4 1/2,
Okay.
he'll be
Match
doing.
again.
Yeah, he'll be doing pretty good.
Now, does he do that off of visual or camera?
Visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time. Good grain cart. We just bought that cart because it's got tracks.
Those tracks are awesome.
Yeah, because we had rubber tire before. Nobody wants to be a grain cart operator.
Right.
And because it's rough. And he said, man, can I get a track one? I'm like, sure. About $60,000 more. Then if you just kind of swing wide.
We're gonna go right back down?
Yeah, go back down the other side. So now, Brandt sponsors how many of your races? Half of them, roughly?
They do a little over half, yeah.
Okay.
You know, and it's all about people. At the end of the day, yes, what I do on the racetrack and how I drive is super important.
Yeah.
But if you don't have good people, you don't live up to the potential, you know?
And John Deere, Pioneer, Brandt, all those people, and my parents, you know, good Lord. So we're in the same boat. Since we no-till, you know, we can go through it pretty good.
What's the advantage for you for no-till?
Because we're so sandy.
Yep.
If we don't continue to get rain or irrigation, we're just going to dry up.
Right.
We that moisture there, in the summertime, it'd be gone in 4 days, and then their corn could be burning up in 10 days.
Right.
So the no-till helps conserve moisture.
I'll get this down yet.
Oh man, you're doing awesome.
Oh man, I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Oh man, it's humbling to have you even come out.
No, hey, this doesn't get old, trust me.
Yeah.
People don't realize the amount of time and effort that goes into what y'all do.
Yeah, when I was growing up, we worked physical. Now it's like, if something's that big, we get a piece of equipment to pick it up.
Yeah.
Now it's just hours and hours and hours. He did good.
I didn't screw anything up. That's a
He's
good
a
sign.
natural.
Crash it.
Yeah,
How's
crash
the
it.
side bite?
Side bite was good.
Side bite?
Forward drive's a little bit lacking. It's a little wet.
Well, you don't get a personality like that in there very often.
You know, we had a great conversation rolling through there, and one of the first cars that I raced, the gentleman that owned it was a farmer, and so I grew up working on my race car at his farm while he was farming.
Oh.
You know, so that was kind of the start of it. Was every company that was on the race car, every company was agriculture based. So moving to now, it's pretty cool that
Sure.
we're in the same boat, just
Yeah,
completely
that's right.
different scale. So
I hear you, man. Everything we do is ag related somehow, isn't that right?
that is true. It's more than that too. It's pretty much in everything we consume. Period. I mean,
And then gas, ethanol, you name it.
that was the one thing that we did. So we ran 100% ethanol.
Really?
And it was interesting to see because with the way the race cars were, there's no fuel management. It's all mechanical. So there's a lot of trial and error of figuring out what it took to make it where it needed to be at because it made so much more power.
Sure.
But the way that it burned was a little bit different at 100%. We finally got it running perfectly. But what we didn't realize was we'd put so many hours on the motor that we kind of got it to its end of its life cycle,
Yeah.
and it blew up.
yeah.
coming. We got the checkered, I lifted, and the parts were just so worn out. That was it.
Man.
So
Yeah.
since
Have you been
Chicagoland, it's been fantastic.
Okay, awesome. I got this. They allowed me to sit on your pit box during the first. Your first pit came in and hearing you on the radio, and you're like, "Give me a bag of ice," you know.
I'll be honest with you. At one point during that race, I literally thought that my skin was melting. But now, even last week was hot. My drink bottle was boiling. I picked it up to take a drink out of it, and I knew something was wrong as soon as I picked it up because the bottle was hot in my hand and it was literally boiling.
Yeah.
I'm like, that one's going out the window. I'll just wait for another one. It's not worth it.
So do you like wait till your competitor goes by and you throw it out?
Yeah.
That would be me.
Well, today we looked at a little bit of everything. I think everybody this year, it seems like for the most part, has had their own issues, right? Their own challenges. Everybody's got plots that are not what they would like them to be. I would say, you know, Randy's definitely thrown down the gauntlet to a certain extent. I thought it was interesting, him deciding to call the Corn Belt out, considering he's never tried to grow corn in the Corn Belt. I'm not gonna spend 5 minutes worrying about what Randy Downey thinks. So we'll see. Until we hit it, our goal is gonna be the 401 level. That's kind of a psychological barrier to me. And it's something that's happened very few times. So if you can put yourself in that kind of company, then that's a good place to be. So 400, 401 is kind of our tentative goal at the time. We're getting ready to make, we got one more full year pass to make on the contest corn. And then we're basically done for the year. So just kind of a wait and see what harvest brings. We could have some really mediocre corn or we could have some really, really good corn. And I can't tell you which one. We're probably at this point between 6 and 7 weeks from starting harvest. See that, Devin? That's still got, it was still trying to pollinate.
Yep.
See that ear size though, it's not that much different. I mean, it's maybe 2 more rows around, but it's not.
It's like 20 then.
Not a whole lot different.
I can usually tell.
Right.
20, 22, I can't do that.
I mean, it tells me we're doing something. We did something better this year than we did last, but I don't know why it tipped back so bad. But this is ugly, ugly looking corn. But I don't care. Makes 400 bushel. I don't care what it looks like.
Yeah, I have seen it. Some of it's pretty bad. But, is it contest stuff? Some of it is contest stuff, which is not very good.
The jury's still out. I've got some, you know, one plot that looks really, really good right now that's had some tick back issues, but we should be okay. And then we've got some plots that don't look so good, so I'm not sure where we're going to be at right now. Ready for the jungle?
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, that's all milk, so there's no dough in there. So we've got probably another 30 days of grain fill to go kernel size still, and we've got kernel weight, both of those, and that's going to have a huge impact on what our final yield was going to be. The ear set's not as good as we would like it to be, but for the challenges that this hybrid has, I think it's still going to be probably one of the better yielding corns on the farm. So, but, I mean, last week I was pretty down on it because the ears hadn't started to swell yet. So when you walk into it, it doesn't feel real encouraging. But I always like to walk through corn and feel the ears, like feel them bouncing off your arms, and we're getting to that point now. So I'm starting to feel a little bit better about it now than I was even last week. So I mean, it's not going to be blockbuster corn, I don't think, but it should be solid corn. So, I mean, we won't know until the combine runs, so it's hard to make a guess. But right now, I'm cautiously optimistic on where we're going to end up at. So this one, you've got some unpollinated up here, and then you've got some tip back right here, about 3-4 kernels deep right there. I mean, at this point of the season, there's nothing that good that can happen to this corn. Everything that happens is bad. The only thing that's good is it turns 70 degrees and it rains every other day. That's the only good thing that can happen. I'll do this without cutting my hand open. Usually, if it was cannibalized, you'd see this starting to turn brown on the margins. And you still see good water in there, so I'm happy with how that looks. So we moved the planter fertilizer program. We started planting soybeans this year as opposed to drilling them to get hopefully a little bit better stand, a more consistent stand, which I think we've accomplished. And so we'll see how it turns out. We got planted a little later than we had hoped on the bean side, so I'm not expecting to break any yield records, but I think we'll see some positive things that we can carry through to next year.
This is probably one of our better fields. Well, I see where the Japanese beetle have been working on them pretty good. And you can see where they've chewed on the leaves here. It always looks worse than it is, probably. I don't see any of the beetles out here. I saw one. Oh, there's one right there. Make a liar out of me.
We've got some heat coming in this week, so we'll see how we survive that. It's just a matter of can we get through the heat without losing too many more kernels, and can we put the weight on that we need to put on. We're currently in a D1 drought right now, so really it's been that way for 3 years now, where we just haven't got the rainfall at the right time. It's certainly not ideal if I was the one controlling the weather. I mean, water is easily our most limiting factor, and it's not even close, really. To me, with what we're doing, it's easier to manage when we get too much rain than it is when you get no rain. They can't make it rain. Irrigation is not generally a priority. You know, we've talked briefly about irrigation. Honestly, most years we're going to have a crop regardless. Like everything, it just costs money. So we need to make sure we've got everything else in good shape before we make that step, because for certain types of irrigation, once you put them in, there's no way to, you can't go back and fix it. You can't go fix something that's if you put drip in, you can't go under the drip lines and put new, something else in. I'm not gonna flat out attack the guy, but Randy is a bully, and there's no question about that. But I'm not gonna say that on camera. Well, I did, but I'm trying to keep it on the... My problem is, I honestly don't think he realizes that I really don't like him. Like I think part of him thinks it's just for the show, and honestly, I really don't like it. What did he call me? A Tweety bird? Is that what he called me? My cell phone service has been god awful today. Generally, I try to be pretty unfiltered on Twitter, so if guys want to see what I really think, then they're more than welcome to follow me on Twitter, because as far as Randy's concerned, I do have the fastest thumbs in the Corn Belt, so he's welcome to engage anytime. I hate it when I'm rambling. I feel like I'm rambling.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm Matt Swanson, and thank you for watching Corn Warriors. Everybody but Randy appreciates your support. Randy doesn't give a about whether you're supporting or not, but the rest of us, we all care.
I think this is the first time all 5 of you have been in one place other than a commodity classic, so we could be in for some fireworks. Mm-hmm. So anybody harvested yet in this group? Randy, I know you've done a little bit of harvesting.
We should have been done by the first week in August. Instead, we've still got corn yet to harvest. It's not fun. We're causing compaction, but the corn's starting to rot in the field. That sucks.
Are you and Sean fighting over who gets which field?
She pretty well takes what she wants. Yeah, that's just saying it nice.
What does that mean? She takes what she wants.
It means it's probably good she's not here.
Yeah.
Are they at home in a jar? Is that what you're telling me?
Pretty well. But it's a big jar.
Well, we have high mag soils like A lot of people do. For whatever reason, we generally don't have magnesium issues in our tissue samples. Generally, the guy that looks at them for me tells me they're too high. But we have iron issues.
Ask him what those levels are.
That we can't seem to solve. So part of the issue, we try to solve some of the potassium issues.
Hey, Matt,
specifically.
just so they can be clear, what kind of levels are you talking about, so they understand?
On the magnesium portion, well, Paul looks at them for me, so you'd have to ask Paul. You mean on the soil? You mean the soil test or the?
Well, you just mentioned that they
Like
were
the
high,
base, like the
so-
base saturation, we're over 70% on almost everything.
What are they on the tissue? You mentioned the tissue samples are running high.
So on the numbers we get back from Paul, he's running about 120 or 130% of what he'd like to see. So that's Paul Bodenstein for those not.
What are the actual levels? What are the actual levels on the tissues? You know that answer?
I'll tell you real quick.
Because that when somebody says they're high, I want to cue in on that, and I want to clue in on it in a bad way, because he may be having an answer to a solution I just talked about, right? So I listen, and I'd love to hear when you say that they're higher than what normal is, or higher than what they should be. So
I try to not even look at whether it's high, low, or medium. I partner with a fellow the same that Matt Swanson did, Paul Bodenstein. So we're looking at ratios. And we know that if we have certain yield level goals, certain nutrients can't drop below a certain number. If they do, you've put a ceiling on your yield goal.
While he's looking that up, Dan, how about you? Any issues you're fighting?
I would go along with what Randy would say on the magnesium. I mean, we have quite a bit available. We've changed our calcium to magnesium ratios by applying calcium, high cal lime and gypsum, and tried to tweak it that way. But even though we're still at a higher level, we are showing deficient in tissue samples. We've had pretty good rainfall. We got a real good crop. Overall, I would say we're probably going to have our highest on-farm yield average. I don't know as far as like the contest stuff is record. I don't know if we're any better than we were before, but I think overall we've got a really good crop, as most of the guys do in Northern Illinois where we're at. So
I think B.B. King sang a song, "The Thrill Is Gone." The thrill is gone. It has not been fun. We've got a crop. We've invested in it. Luckily, we have.
Yeah, but your aflatoxin numbers are real high.
You know, there is a backstop here that won't catch you.
If we're going to assume we take the weather out of the equation, sunlight has been their trouble this year. Yeah, something we can't control. There's no sunlight in a bottle yet. But then, I mean, I imagine we probably all have similarities, but it's just managing and keeping it well balanced from a standpoint of sulfur, boron, iron. You know, we can address all those. It's just a matter of getting it, having the framework to get it started and then finish it. Most people just run out of steam on the tail end.
If you want all the plants to come up at the same time, we got to do what? We got to control depth. We got to control moisture, prevent crusting. We got to have good seed to soil contact. We got to have good genetics. I'm gonna pull that one out of David. For him, you just have to plant this particular seed company's bag of seed, and it's just gonna happen. I've heard him say that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but who's got the record?
He's been trained well. Who set the bar that you went after?
Well, okay.
Anyhow, we can have fun because we're friends.
Questions from the floor? I want to give them a chance to ask you guys some questions.
Randy got asked a question about what you called high.
Yep.
You never answered the question.
So the mag levels in the tissue test are about 0.5% on the sample. Between 0.35 and 0.5, I believe is what it was.
Okay, any other questions?
And for reference, using Paul's ratios, that would be 150% of what what Paul would like to see.
I think people really appreciate, and all the guys that spoke here today, I mean, every one of them, I enjoy learning from you guys, so appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Got it. I can step up to the buck and I can talk trash with the best of them. It's good old First Amendment. I'm right to have my opinion and free speech too, whether people like it or not.
So we had somewhere earlier this year, we hit a wall of gnats.
Yeah.
And I thought it was raining. Like
Sure.
the way that it hit the windshield, the sound, and the view, I thought it was raining. And they're like, no, that's just bugs.
Yeah, pull that tearaway off.
Yeah, pull the tear off, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Get you some of those from the windshield.
Yeah.
You know, that way, you know, you.
Yeah, that's right. They'd probably do it if you wanted to. Nothing money can't fix.
You're right, that's right. I was always told, speed costs money, how fast you want to go.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping we were going to be picking up near 295, right on the interstate. And yeah, from the racetrack, it's like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that would have been cool, because we got some really good corn there, unlike this. You're going to talk some when you get there. This guy thought he knew how to grow corn. Stick some of Kevin's cob corn in there, yeah, do some photoshopping.
This is time to throw Randy off.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I have yet to come into a situation where I have been on a farm and not enjoyed it.
So does this mean, Justin, you're gonna let David drive the car now? Or how does that work?
If he can fit, he can drive it.
That ain't gonna happen.
Do you think you'd be able to drive off in the corner 200 miles an hour?
I hit the corner. There's no doubt.
Do you know when you set a record like that? It's got to be a good feeling when you're rolling through and you're like, okay, this is
this is good
special.
Stuff. Yeah, it's humbling first that
Yeah.
you were able to accomplish that, and you know we did everything that we possibly could, and then you know good Lord blessed us, and
right.
Man, when you put all that together and you can hit it, and you start seeing the numbers come up on the monitor, and you know we knew we had something special when the corn came up, because it came up so uniform, and then we kept following it throughout the season and kept kind of spoon feeding it. But then when we actually did the check, you know, we were seeing numbers that we had never seen before. And so then when they came back and told us what the numbers were, it's like, oh, this is awesome. Then they check it the second time and it does better. But then the neat thing was, you know, my son did really well, my brother did awesome. So, you know, we had 3 entries that did phenomenal. So then that's like a whole family there. I came home one night and, you know, we had set a record, and somebody started calling us the king, and the wife had a crown on my pillow when I got home.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about, right? We're all in this together as a team, so we're
That's exactly right.
Well, hey, it's great to meet you.
Yes, sir. Good
Thank you all for letting us come and interrupt your day.
Oh, this was awesome. We're all trying to catch up. We've all had a lot of time off. So now it's like, y'all were winning last week, I'm going to win this week.